Okay, so let's jump right in. When you hear water damage, you're probably picturing, a huge flood, maybe a pipe that's just exploded. But the real danger, it's the stuff you can't see. It's that unseen invader moving silently and way faster than you think right behind your walls. Today, we're going to break down what's actually happening when water gets loose and why every single second is absolutely critical. This right here nails it. Water damage isn't a problem you can stick on a to-do list for tomorrow. It is an active, relentless force. It just doesn't stop. The second that water shows up, a clock starts ticking. And believe me, time is not on your side. It is your number one enemy in this situation. So, okay, we know it's a race against time, but what are we actually racing against? What is that water doing in those first few hours that's so incredibly destructive? Well, the answer? It's pretty shocking just how fast things can go south. We're calling this first section the Silent Destroyer, and that name is perfect because water doesn't make a grand entrance. It doesn't make a lot of noise while it seeps into everything you own. It just gets to work, and the damage it causes is immediate and it is deep. Okay, check out this timeline. It is just wild. We're talking minutes, not hours, before your drywall, your insulation, your carpets, they all start acting like giant sponges. Then, over the next day or so, things start to physically change. Your drywall swells up, your beautiful wood floors start to buckle and warp. But here is the real kicker, that 24 to 48-hour window. That's when mold wakes up. The spores are always there, just dormant, waiting for a little moisture. This is their green light. It's a biological deadline that you just cannot afford to miss. So to make this whole risk feel a little more real, let's look at a case study. We're heading to Forest City, Florida. I mean, this place is basically a masterclass in how climate and construction can team up to create the perfect storm for water damage. It all starts with this number, 50 plus inches. Think about that, over 50 inches of rain a year. And we're not talking about some gentle spring shower. No, this is intense, tropical downpours just hammering down on every roof, every window, every single day. It's a constant, non-stop battle against moisture. And it's not just the rain, right? The entire environment is working against you. The air is so humid that nothing ever really feels dry. The ground's already saturated because of a high water table. And that sandy soil, oh, that's just a super highway for water to move around underground. You put it all together, and it's like nature is literally designed to push water into buildings. But here's the thing. It's not just nature's fault. It's what we built, too. A lot of these houses went up in the 70s and 80s, before we got really smart about modern moisture barriers. And that concrete block construction, you'd think it's tough as nails, but it's actually fantastic at hiding slow leaks. Water can be dripping inside a wall for months, letting mold and rot just go to town. Until one day, the problem is absolutely massive. It's a 1-2 punch of a hostile environment and vulnerable buildings. Okay, so that's the problem. It's pretty grim, right? But what's the solution? How do you fight back? Well, it's not about grabbing a mop and some towels. There is a real science to this. And step one is understanding that not all water is the same. And who writes the official playbook for all this? That would be the IICRC. Now, this isn't some brand or company you can hire. It's the independent organization, the real science nerds, who set the professional standards for the entire industry. They make sure everything is done based on proven science, not just what someone thinks might work. So when a pro says they do things by the book, well, this is the book they're talking about. All right, lean in for this one because this is super important. The IICRC breaks water into 3 categories. You've got category 1, that's clean water from something like a broken supply line. Then category 2, gray water, kind of gross, think washing machine overflows. But category 3, that's black water, and it's as bad as it sounds. We're talking sewage, floodwaters, seriously hazardous stuff. And here's why this matters so much. The category dictates everything. What gets thrown out, what can be saved, even the safety gear the crew has to wear. Getting this wrong isn't just a mistake, it's a huge health and safety risk. So, knowing the enemy and the rules of engagement, how do the pros actually launch their counterattack? Well, forget that image of a frantic scramble with towels. This is a calm, methodical, scientific operation. The whole process really breaks down into these 3 phases. First, emergency response. Get the standing water out immediately. Second, and this is the most critical part, structural drying. This is where they hunt down and remove all that hidden moisture from inside the walls and floors. And only after that is verified and done can you move to the final phase, restoration. Basically putting everything back together.
Now that second phase, the drying part, that's where a lot can go wrong. It's not just about running a bunch of fans and making things feel dry. Professionals use special moisture meters to take readings deep inside the structure. They establish a dry standard by testing an unaffected area, and they don't stop the equipment until the data proves the structure is officially dry. That is the only way to be 100% certain you've prevented a future mold problem.
And this slide just lays it all out, the right way versus the rushed way. Look, a proper scientific drying process takes 3 to 5 days, typically. If anyone shows up promising they can have you dry in 24 hours, you should be very, very skeptical. All they're doing is drying the surface and trapping hidden moisture inside. It might look dry for a little while, but it's a ticking time bomb for mold and rot.
So, after all that, the speed of the damage, the crazy environmental risks, the science of the fix, what's the one thing you absolutely need to remember from all of this? It all comes down to one word: speed. That's it. It's not about the size of the leak, the type of water, not even the cost. The single biggest factor that you can control, the one that decides if this is a minor cleanup or a total catastrophe, is how fast you act. Every minute you wait, the damage gets exponentially worse, and it gets way more expensive. Period.
So we'll just leave you with this question. For most of us, our property is our biggest investment. And when it comes to water, it's really not a matter of if it'll happen, but when. So knowing how quickly a small problem can blow up into a disaster, what's your plan for that first critical hour? Being prepared isn't just about protecting a building. It's about protecting your biggest investment.